I actually failed in my 12th standard in a subject called Maths, which I never liked. A salesperson is one who's able to listen and understand the need of the customer. Maybe if I'd have known these coaching skills in those days, instead of playing cricket, I could have become a coach.
What they would learn is how to handle rejection, how to be persistent, and finding solutions when you hit a roadblock.
Absolutely. The Indian context, if you have the money, you can buy any franchise. But in the US, it is not the case. They will do a persona analysis and then decide whether this particular business will suit this person. I was actually in the car and I was loudly praying, God, give me idea. And I don't know how to do this. And you won't believe, I just took the turn and the bulb just struck me. 35 years I put in a lot of efforts to build a lot of brands. And I want to teach now how to build brands that will last a legacy.
Name one food franchise.
My favorite is Chick-fil-A in the US.
Oh, love Chick-fil-A. I mean, welcome to Beyond Your Story, the podcast where every journey matters. Every setback teaches something, and every triumph inspires. I'm your host, Srikar Kadiyam, and I have walked quite a path to get here. From debugging networks as a network engineer to exploring the cutting edge world of the metaverse, Web3, and AI, to now building my own entrepreneurial venture. I have learned that our stories aren't just about when we have been, but about what lies beyond the surface. I am Srikar Kadiyam. This is Beyond Your Story. So tell me, what's beyond yours? Welcome everyone. Welcome to our first episode of Beyond Your Story, season 1. And we, with Beyond Your Story, we explore and cover remarkable stories of trailblazers and entrepreneurs in the startup world. And we have a special guest in the studio here today. And before jumping into introducing him, I want to give you a little bit of background about his journey. He started as an educator, computer basics educator, and then now he is a franchise expert. And he's been in the industry for 35 years, and he has pursued 8 degrees and helped like 1,700 entrepreneurs, mentoring them and creating 1,700 franchises and scaling up 300 stores of a retail brand that we'll cover. And it happened in the span of 2 years and 6 months. So we have a lot to say, and now let me introduce the guest here. Mr. Dr. Chackochen Mathai. Welcome to our podcast, sir.
Thank you very much, Sai, for interviewing me on your podcast. It's such a joy for me to share my story. As you rightly said, I was a computer teacher way back in the early 90s. And then being a computer teacher, you stay in the same class and you get students come and go. But then I was not very much interested because right from my early days, I had a doctor friend, and I used to sit in his, clinic in the evenings just to go and see what a doctor does. And I used to see those days, huge guys with good ties, with their bags coming in, and selling those medicines to the doctor. And they had they would actually talk fantastic English, and also they will be trying to showcase their products. And I always was fascinated about how the sales process works, and I was always keen wanting to actually be part of a sales organization. So I have tried a couple of them, but I did not get into the pharma sales at that time. I have given a couple of interviews and I came to the last final rounds, but I couldn't really click into that. But then I went on to do my computer education and then started actually working with a computer company, teaching computers, and then moving on from teaching to selling computer education in schools. That's what exactly I was doing in the early 90s, which helped me to now become a franchise expert.
Understood. I think let's take a step back And I want to understand where you came from and how it all started. And I know for sure you had your hurdles during this process where you saw failures, and would love to know more on the education side, like how you kind of like pursued your journey. I think it was not easy. And I know you are challenge driven, and you are curiosity driven as well. So you're an active learner.
Well, as I told you, I actually failed in my 12th standard in a subject called Maths, which I never liked. But that's what happened when I did my 12th standard. But then what happened was I felt so, challenged that how can this failure come into my life? Because I was a good athlete, I was a sports person, I was in NCC, I was in NSS, doing a lot of things. But then one failure hit me so hard in my life, and I felt so ashamed of myself. But then I got a chance to do my BSc Mathematics. I took BSc Mathematics as my challenge because the subject that I failed, I want to prove to the world that I am worth my salt by doing this course. But let me tell you, after that, that was in 90. After that, 90 to 2000, I did not study anything. And I didn't want to study at all because of the frustrations I went through, because I was actually trying to prove my dad wrong that I'm still good in math, which I should not have done probably. Probably I should have taken up some other subject. Many of them actually asked me, why are you taking maths? You failed in maths. But I said, no, I want to take maths to prove. So I was offered a sports quota in St. Joseph's College in Trichy, where I went to ask for a course, for a seat. At that time, the physical director asked me, why are you doing maths? You're a sportsman. You're not supposed to do maths. You're supposed to do some history courses. But then I said, no, I want to do maths. If you give me maths, I'll play. But then they said, no, because you will be always on tour, because St. Joseph is a very good, sports-driven college at that time. They said, no, we can't give you a seat. So I came back and I was sitting and searching for a college which would give me BSc Maths, and I found my college where I studied in Maths, because I wanted to prove a point to my dad, my people around me, saying that it was just a whisker that I failed, but I want to do well. So I took back mathematics.
For the listeners listening here, I think anyone struggling with maths, you know who to reach now.
No, not at all. They shouldn't be reaching me at all, because I don't do any maths now, because I really don't like maths, but I'm more a management guy. I like leadership, I like sales, I like teaching people what I learned in my life. 35 years I put in a lot of efforts to build a lot of brands. And I want to teach now how to build brands that will last a legacy or leave a legacy in India. That's what I really want to do now.
I'm motivated, inspired, and love the journey that you've paved so path, and it's connecting the dots towards your current skill set. So for the listeners on this podcast, point out like essential skill that a salesman needs. Right now we're talking about AI and the evolution of AI, and tech is changing. So I want to kind of like highlight like the key skills, key takeaways that you got being into the roles that you were in, and also cover a few milestones that you achieved so far in the 35 years of journey. So we want to tap into that area.
Yeah, well, as a salesperson, the first thing is you need to be a good listener. A salesperson is one who's able to listen and understand the need of the customer. Now, understanding the need and providing a solution for that need will translate to become a sale, provided you have the right, solution for that person. Now, if you're not able to understand the need and you want to go and shove your solution that you have and push it onto him, he may not buy from you, right? So it's important to analyze what is that he is looking for, and then going and pitching it to him would help him to buy the product from you. The important thing is not only listening skills, but you also need to understand the demographic and the psychology
Body language and psychology.
psychology of the person, right? So you do a lot of research before you get into actually meeting a person, right? Today with social media, you can go into a Facebook, you can go into LinkedIn, understand the person and the personality before even you step into discussion. But let me tell you, today India is actually losing out on real salespeople, which is real concern. The other day, some of us met together for a coffee, and we were talking about, some of us have been trained by NIS, some of them are big leaders who have been in sales and marketing in different companies. Today, colleges do not, or colleges or universities do not train people on sales. They just give you, the orientation of a management education. Well, which is good, but sales and marketing is not taught literally, the way we used to be taught in NIS, right? So I'm really curious to bring out this particular thing outside and, share it with people the way how a sales guy need to be prepared for the market.
Understood. On that relevance, I think you are preparing some courses and you're taking your steps coming up. Can you throw some light on how our listeners can sign up for it? And we want to understand what programs that you're launching. Throw some light on that. We would love to know, and our listeners here would love to know more.
Yeah, well, basically what I'm looking at now, since I've got into business, my company's name is Franchising Right Way. You will see a book there called Franchising Right Way. That's also my company's name also is Franchising Right Way, because there's a wrong way of doing business. And I'm not here to do, wrong way of business, but teach the right way to do business. So what we are looking at in Franchising Right Way is to bring out a certificate course on franchise management, certificate course on entrepreneurship, and certificate course on sales and marketing. That's what exactly we are trying to, build in and take this entire thing to people online as well as offline, so that people could come quick course, short courses, 5 days, 7 days, kind of a course where experts would come and teach and they would learn this course from us. That's what we're looking at.
Very interesting. I think we'll leave the details about the course part later in the podcast in the description and all. And let's jump into your success stories. I think you have very interesting success stories with the companies that you worked in the past, like Green Trends, Natural Salons, and the story of scaling up 300 stores in 2 years and 6 months. Want to know more about it? Like I want to know like how you did it. Kind of like put it in a nutshell. So that we tend to learn from it.
I was actually going through a slump in my life. I was part of NIT, part of Aptech, SSI, and then I joined a company called CAD Center. CAD Center is a very renowned company in the space of CAD education, computer-aided design. And I was actually the national head for this company. And I was setting up stores across India, and I have traveled quite a bit from Kashmir to Kanyakumari, and 350 stores I have set up along with my team in different parts of the country. It took about 8 years for me to do this. Once I did this, then I really wanted to do something, and some of my friends joined together and said, "Why don't you come? We'll start a tech company, which is Cisco training program company." So we decided to start a Cisco training company in Bangalore, and we invested quite a lot of money into this entire enterprises. And then finally, 2010 was a very bad year for IT. I think you remember we had a very tough time, and the entire IT crashed at that time, and we lost money. So when we lost money, we had to shut down our business, and then I was actually broken in my heart as an entrepreneur. We have been teaching entrepreneurship in franchising to people, but then when you tried, you failed actually. And that really hit me very hard. And I was actually not getting out of the house because of depression. And I was sitting at home A friend of mine actually walked in and said, "Hey, I want to take up a franchise." And that's when I signed up for my PhD. And I was doing a lot of research. Franchise India magazine is what I used to read a lot. I used to stack this up quite a bit in my rooms. Wherever we moved, I used to carry these books. I was so passionate about franchising. I started reading, materials every day. I would pick up these. But one of the saddest parts of the learning is that 2 years before, if I'd have actually magazines, if I'd have seen, some of the brands would have come to light, but they are not available in India anymore. That's a sad part of franchising actually. And I was always thinking about, which sector is doing. So initially in the early 90s, if you see, it was computer education that was very popular till the 2000s, right? Till 2000. And then suddenly the crash happened, and then you had CAD education, which became very popular, which is one of the, after the IT revolution that happened, it was next the CAD center, which I was part of it, and we really did very extremely well. 25, 30 years now, the company has been still existent and doing well, and I was part of that company, and I was so proud because nobody knew CAD at that time, and I was taking up this entire education to different parts of the country. Now, since I have done these things, my friend said, "Why don't you come in and start?" So that's when we started. We lost the money. While I was studying, I realized there's a new sector which is emerging, which is the beauty and wellness sector. Now, I did a study on this beauty and wellness, and I figured out there are two companies which are very popular, which is Green Trends and Naturals. So my friend walked in and said, "Anna, I want to take up one of these stores. Which would you recommend?" I said, "A company that has processes and a team which will take care of the needs of the franchisee." So we evaluated both of these, brands, and I told him, "Look, you could go in for Green Trends." So I walked in. So my friend said, "Okay, now I have finalized. Would you come and see the location where I've decided to take?" So he took me to Tirunelveli, and we actually launched the brand Green Trends there. While actually, signing up, he said, on an emotional basis or a sentimental basis, "Since you were part of my entire process, would you be coming to actually pay that initial franchisee fees? I'll be happy if you come." Well, I want to tell you, I was so depressed with a beard and I was not dressed up well. But then, because he's insisting, I said, "I will go." When I went there, a lady was sitting in front of me. She was actually willing to ask me questions. And when I told her that this is where I worked and this is what my passion is, she said, "Just wait, I want to introduce you to my boss, and we want to talk to you." So 2 days later, I get a call from a HR head. The HR head seems to be my friend who worked with me in CAD Center. And he said, "Why don't you come?" I said, "I'm not interested to work because I don't want to work because I couldn't tell him that I was depressed because I just I lost money and I'm just waiting, doing my PhD. So I don't want to get disturbed because I want to go and teach in college. Once this is done, my PhD is done, I want to go and do teaching in college so that it's stress-free, right?" So I thought I'll do that. But that's when he invited me, and then he insisted that I come. He said, "You're going to work with Kavin Care." And Kavin Care is one of the best companies that when we were doing our marketing courses, we have read about Sachet Revolution, which C.K. Ranganathan's father actually brought it, and Mr. C.K. Kumaravel. These are two gigantic people that whom I really admired at those days. So I said, "Why not, go and try?" So I went, and I happened to meet Mr. C.K. Ranganathan, the chairman of the company, and we had an interview, a short interview, and then he said, "Join." And that's when the whole dynamics changed. And I was coming out of a slump. And I wanted to prove to the world that I am still worth my salt. So I took it as a challenge. I said, I want to do it well this time. The company is excellent. The products are very good. But one thing is, Cat Center, I was selling, 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs franchising, and this is about 60 lakhs, 70 lakhs of investment. So it's a huge jump. But then you need to have such an, mind to sell this to people. But fortunately for me, Kavin Care is a great brand, right? Everybody knows Kavin Care, and Mr. C.K. Ranganathan is a very well-known figure, right? Fortunately, I had the, privilege to work with him along with my another head of business, Mr. Gopi, and both of us, were able to build 300 stores in just 2 years and 6 months, right? Now, this is history in the salon industry. Now, how did that happen? I want to tell you the story. That's very interesting. I was driving the car, and every day, whenever I pass Koturpuram in Chennai, I was actually taking a turn. And a spark came out of my mind because I was crying out to God, God, give me idea. And I don't know how to do this. Please help me. And you won't believe, I just took the turn and the bulb just struck me and said, go to office, try this out, and it will work. So I rushed to the office. I go and meet my boss. He said, funny guy, it'll not work. We cannot put our brand at stake. I'm not going to allow you to do this. I was shocked. So I was so dejected that day. While coming back, the second day, again in the same turn, I get this particular, kind of instinct that happens and said, go back and talk to your boss. So second day I go back and ask him, boss, I want to do this. Would you allow me to? No. It will dilute the brand. Don't do anything like this. I was very angry. I said, you're not allowing me to try something new? And, I was disappointed, and I was sitting and I said, this is a real success that I will get. I know, because the brand was not very popular at the time. I said, if you do this, it'll work. So the third day, I was just going around. Again, the same thing popped up. I said, this time I'm going to do it. So I went straight into the office because I was general manager at that time, number 2 in the position. I called the IT guy and said, I want this to be done. Try it out in first few places. He just did some of the things, and I tell you, I had people queuing in for taking up the franchise. That idea sparked. So there are some idea movements in our life. If you have a good boss who would initiate those things, you will see success. But then sometimes brand rules may not allow, right? But then out of the box it happened, and then suddenly we see people queuing up saying that, hey, we never knew that you were actually selling franchise. And that was the success story. And then the whole thing moved on, and suddenly we find people started coming and taking up the franchise, and 2 years and 6 months, 300 stores were signed, well, before I left Green Trend. That was a success story of mine. And that's, I really proud, being, that spark.
Wow. What a success story. I think I'm more than inspired. I think people listening to this podcast, I think what they would learn is how to handle rejection, how to be persistent.
Oh, wow, I like that word, persistent in your conviction.
Exactly. And finding solutions when you hit a roadblock.
Absolutely.
So it's important as entrepreneurs, you tend to learn your own habit system where you be persistent and show up every single day, no matter you're rejected or you're failing. I think you'll the trust that you succeed one day And I think that is the gold mine by itself. Like it's like climbing up the Mount Everest. And you should never forget your journey. I always tell to myself, like, you should never forget your journey. Like you have to count your blessings, and you have to remember your journey every single day, because sometimes you see on the other side of it, you see down, you have to see up. So I think more of with the listeners, and for me as a host here, I think through the journey of this, I think I'll remember the story for a long time, and
Thank you.
more of especially with the with general audience or anyone, I think let's cover about like little bit about what franchising is, kind of like what are the basic principles, and how someone can be a part of franchise. They don't need to essentially create one, but if they want to create one, what are the baby steps? So probably like let's take a couple of minutes, like try putting the building blocks, and throw your wisdom and throw some light on that, and we'll jump on to the next one. So over to you, sir.
So franchising is basically using a company's ideas or the brand which has been created by someone who has been successful in many cycles. For example, let me tell you this. My father has been running a business for, assuming that my father has been running a business for, let's say, 10 years, and he's been stationed in one place, but everybody loves, for example, a bakery, right? My father was, assuming that my father was running a bakery, and the products are excellent, right, in Hyderabad, or a city like Chennai or Bangalore. And then, everybody says, hey, the stuff over there is excellent. But then it's important that this stuff reaches, because a guy who's been in that particular area suddenly buys a house somewhere else. And then he wants to have this item that he has been actually, binging on. Maybe he wants to probably have the store there. Now, if this person who has built an empire, for 10 years, has not taken the growth step into multiplying his store through the franchising route, then you have lost the customer, right? So to acquire more customers, it is easy for you to franchise your business in multiple locations where you are acquiring more customers for your brand. Let's take an example of Bata, which is one of the oldest stores, right? Oldest shoes. When we studied in school, we would have gone to Bata, right? Now, of course, in between there was a challenge for Bata, because there were so many new brands which came in with style and stuff like that. But then Bata has repositioned themselves today, and they have much more varieties today, right? But then a Bata is a store which is available close to your home. So you are rest assured that your children can go to Bata, your girls can go to Bata, your elders can go to Bata, and the Bata is available in every junction of that city. Now that provides the consumer connect, which is very important. The same is the case with any brand for that matter, food, salons, or retail stores. Look at Van Ozen, or Peter England, or Arrow. All these brands have all franchised, and they have multiplied the store by giving franchisees. Blossom is a new brand which is from Kerala, which is actually coming out with their franchise concept, which is very successful in Kerala. They already have crossed 25 stores in just 1 year. And look at the visibility of the brand, which increases when you are reaching more customers through franchising. So franchising is a concept where you're using somebody else's proven track record of a business to help yourself and the society by taking up a franchise in a particular location to serve more customers.
That is a very interesting juncture that we've gotten. So let me expand that. Say example, there are like several type of businesses in the industry. I think you covered a few. And what type of businesses can be franchise? Can traditional family business can be converted to a franchise model? What are the baby steps that people have to take?
Yeah, first of all, brand building is one of the important things. Once you have built a brand, then the model is very important. Franchising model, right? For example, if you look at a salon model, you will find that there's a franchisee fees and there's a royalty. Now, to do this, the size of the salon should be 1,000 or 1,200 square feet. That was the earlier format. But now there are smaller formats which are coming into actually going into the gullies right now, where you are having 600 square feet. So, which model would you like to pick up? The franchisor. Based on that model, you create a franchise model. Now, the first thing is to creating a franchise model first. As a franchisee expert, I would say the first thing is using your current expertise. You are actually building a model, franchise model, for somebody to take your brand and make profits while taking your brand. And as a franchisor, it is important for you to actually do a lot of marketing to promote your brand, so that you're not only attracting customers, but you're also attracting franchisees to come and take your brand. So that's when franchising is not just giving franchise. There's a lot of work behind the brand that you need to do to actually scale up your business in the growth sector, right? So you need to park some money for franchising before you franchise your brand, because the team is very important. You need to have good franchise managers with you who will understand your vision and your passion for multiplication. If you have the wrong guys working for you, then it's very difficult, because you're going to keep on changing people, which is not a good thing for franchising. A franchising system, in the foreign countries work for a longer time because people stay with the company for a longer. But in India, people just come in, they are chucked out or they are thrown out because there are no good franchise education that happens in India.
It was an amazing conversation so far. I think let's kind of like talk about how franchises are using AI for data analysis and in their workflow, and also to get their productivity enhanced. And more of I see like we are heading into like AGI right now, AGI phase, which is artificial generative intelligence, where AI agents would be coming into picture. So we wanted to tap into that sector, and can you throw some light on that?
So the important thing of AI being used in the franchising business is, one of the things is predictive analysis. For example, franchisee selection itself can be driven by AI by understanding the personality. So persona of the franchisee. Basically, the persona of the franchisee is very, very important. Now, I want to tell you something. The Indian context, if you have the money, you can buy any franchise. But in the US, it is not the case. They will do a persona analysis and then decide whether this particular business will suit this person. We don't have the time in India. That's the biggest, saddest part of franchising in India. But I want to tell you, if you have to really do some analysis, you can't scale, you can't do numbers. Therefore, companies don't do these kind of persona analysis. Rather, just they say, okay, fine. They do some kind of a work on, okay, submit your PAN card, Aadhaar card, bank statements. When you're becoming a franchisee, unless you're taking a big franchise business, you will not. When you're taking a small franchise for a tea shop with 3 lakhs of investment, what kind of data, what kind of documents would you like to take it from a 3 lakhs? But if you're taking a big brand like Van Heusen or a Trends or a Tata kind of, they will ask for a lot of data, a lot of documentation, and really they would check in what kind of a background that you had. But the rest of the people are just taking money and then wanting to give their brands. That will stop with AI, where AI will tell what kind of a background that this person is having, what kind of attitude this person having, what kind of acumen that this person has. That's really possible. The next thing is probably sales forecast, market trend analysis. All these are possible through AI, right? The next one is automated lead generation is another important thing, right? Where companies are actually struggling to generate leads today, but then using an AI, they would probably use Meta and try to get the right person into your system. Like for example, in those days when we used to do digital marketing or lead generation, we would actually throw money everywhere. But now we don't have to, because we can very specifically tell what we really want, what kind of a age, target audience, what kind of money they have. All these can be possibly checked out through various means. And then automated lead generation, I mentioned. Virtual assistants, like for example, AI driven chatbots would be used for getting leads actually. And then
Customer service calls.
yes, calls could be actually diverted, and chatbots can be used for customer issues, right? So that can be used for franchising. uh, Personalized marketing effects, for example, customer segmentation could happen, and then AI can drive the segmentations very clearly. Behaviors of the consumer can be analyzed, preferences that they have, morning, evening, midnight. What are the preferences? Like let's say the food. The food delivery apps. If you really ask me, I've analyzed all these data. What are you actually eating regularly? And then you are pushed right to there's an offer coming on. So there's a lot of things could be done through AI. Franchise operational efficiency can be improved. Inventory management can be controlled by AI, right? And then supply chain logistics would be another one which could be used. Customer service, as you rightly said, where you don't have to be there, but then you'll get an email for thanking them, or probably customer centric issues that are there could be addressed, right? Then franchisee performance analysis, right? So you want to analyze the performance of each of the stores, and that's where sales performance analysts can be used by AI. Operational performances analysis and benchmarking could be probably one of the things that could be done. Now, the next thing that we can talk about is virtual training support. Most of the companies are moving into actually creating training modules where you don't have to really come down to the head office. Rather, they would have the entire training module created in the L&D platforms using an AI, and then probably the trainings can happen online. Now, that's another important area AI could be used. Virtual coaching could be possible, right? So you have a one-on-one coaching with the franchisee and franchisor. Franchisor coaches the franchisee on various aspects like sales, marketing, training, and so on and so forth. So that's possible. Knowledge management is another big thing. I remember KM, right? We talked about KM in those days when IT was very popular. Sharing knowledge or capturing knowledge from franchisee to franchisee and making that available for others who come in and sign up would be an easy thing to do now with AI.
I think we are one prompt away creating like some knowledge articles or documentation.
Absolutely.
I think we, especially with AI coming into picture, I think it has accelerated a lot of tasks and increase the productivity. I want to tap into like what AI tools you use on a daily basis on your workflow.
ChatGPT is one which we generally use. That's what we use at this point of time. And some of them use some other platforms which are coming out. Now there is another important thing, task getting the task done. There are a lot of apps which has come, like Juggle is one app which is very good. Then Work AI is another app which I have seen recently. So these are actually apps which will help you to actually, make sure that your tasks are aligned and everybody is on the job using an AI. So another important thing is location intelligence. For example, I want to put up a store in a particular location, and I've been looking for intelligence from the market or from my staff. Now I don't have to do that because the intelligence are actually available when you do a chat GPT and say, hey, I want to know whether these stores are available in these locations. And I mean, probably I get that competitor analysis done on a AI for location finding, and also the population, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that being done, and especially it is actually data driven these days, right? So data is the new oil. That's we always have learned, right? And using data, there are so many informed decision could be taken using AI in franchising business, consumer centric, franchisee centric, and it is also the ecosystem that will actually adapt this AI so that the best can be given to the consumer.
Interesting. I think that's a lot of wisdom to process. I think on the AI spectrum part, I think I am definitely taking some notes down. I think we have covered a lot into technical right now, and I want to jump into a very interesting topic segment. I think name one food franchise, like one success story. We can take an example. Say probably one of my favorites is Rameshwaram Cafe.
My favorite is Chick-fil-A in the US.
Oh, love Chick-fil-A. I mean,
You're in the US, right?
don't get me started there. I think Chick-fil-A nuggets. I can kind of like.
I was in the US. I went to the store every now and then. Wherever I go into Chick-fil-A, not for the nuggets, but the service point. They are so structured. They are so good in their delivery and so good with human being. Right?
So right. I mean, I'll tell you, like, one of the best customer service you can see.
Absolutely.
And
the company believes in certain ethos, which I'm really very fascinated by. I did a study while doing my PhD on this particular brand. And I figured out, even to give a franchise, it takes 3 years for them to study the franchise before they give you actually a franchise. Amazing, right? I mean, you apply. I know some of my friends, Indian friends, have applied and they've never got this because they would do a fact check on you completely before even you are invited for an interview with them.
Wow.
And one of the things that I like about this particular brand is they visit your home.
Oh, really?
And spend 3 days with you.
Oh God, that's like a deep level vetting.
Because you're actually part of a legacy, 2,600 stores at this point of time. And they're increasing. Now, how could that you have a process? What is franchising? Franchising is nothing but defining a process and following the process very strictly is franchising. No compromise on your processes.
Wow, that's the reason like Chick-fil-A is so popular.
Absolutely.
And the quality that they maintain. It's the taste.
They in fact have started, Chick-fil-A college, where they actually have trained, staff from the colleges. People come and study to work in this particular Chick-fil-A stores.
Wow.
Which is amazing because that's the vision. Look at the vision that they have. That's franchising for me. For me, if any company that wants to actually follow a good model of franchising, it should be Chick-fil-A. No other brand.
Do you see any such brand in India going global? I mean, any brand like that you see in the next 5-10 years going global? This brand, I see they have that mechanics to go global.
And one of the brands that I recently studied or been grappling upon what they do is Rameshwaram Cafe, right? As you rightly mentioned, And one of the things that they have actually stated in one of the podcasts that I saw was that they don't give franchise to every Tom, Dick, and Harry. There's a process that I have followed, which I'm very passionate about, because that's exactly, you can't just sell a brand to Tom, Dick, and Harry who has just money. It's not money. It is more related to customer service. In a restaurant business, it's more customer service that we look at, and the quality of the food, right? For me, service. If your guy is not able to service the customers who look at the brand and come to you, then I think there are many times that we have not gone to a restaurant if the service has not been good. The food may be good actually, but the attitude of the people are not good. I don't think we go to that particular store again, right? So I would consider Rameswaram Cafe as one of the, a classical example of maintaining high quality that they are talking about right now, right? But then as you scale has different problems. I also know that Naturals is right now available in different countries in the Middle East, and they're looking at expansion. And when you go to a different country, it's a different animal altogether. The reason is because there are franchising rules. India doesn't have franchising law.
Uh-huh.
All right? So franchising law is not available in India, but in other countries, there are franchising. Malaysia has franchising laws. So if you want to start a franchise business in Malaysia, you go to a franchise committee to present. They will look at what, as a franchisor, have you done so long? Is your business profitable?
Uh-huh.
Only then you can give franchises. But in India, you yourself are not profitable, but then you start giving franchise because everybody is asking, oh, can I get this franchise? Can you get that franchise? Immediately, the owner thinks, oh, now I can make a lot of money and I can just franchise.
Uh-huh.
But that's not franchising. To do your franchising, you got to do a lot of math behind before you go into franchising, because franchising is brand building. You are responsible for the money the franchisee is putting in your brand, so that the legacy of your brand is extended to different location. But who cares? Who cares these days? I want money, quick money. So I will take the franchise, fee that they give and run away. Most of the brands in India have died because they are only focusing on franchisee fees. They are not focused on how to serve the franchisee. But I want to tell you, my viewers, this day, I want to tell you today, any company that does not look at the franchisee as your customer, and you're only looking at the end customer as your customer, you are doomed. Because your franchisee is your customer. This is the belief that I believe. Most of them don't believe this, what I say, because they believe that the end customer is their customer. I don't deny that, but let me tell you, the hard-earned money that the franchisee is putting to take your brand, he is actually keeping away every savings and coming into your brand. And if you're not going to take care of him and his needs, I'm telling you, your brand will not be there for a long time. You will die. But that is why Chick-fil-A, I prefer Chick-fil-A, because they have systems and process. They take care of the franchisee very well.
True. I think you must have covered a lot in your book as well.
This book that I have written is a book from my thesis. Okay, so it's a textbook for franchising. I have read a lot of books which I have, in my library. I've taken a lot of notes from them. But a concise, 10-chapter book which will give you exactly how to franchise. This book is available on on Amazon and on Flipkart, and you can order them and buy them and read it for colleges and for the libraries. You can get in touch with me on LinkedIn, and I can actually give you a bulk purchase is possible. But I want to tell you that this book will help you to s- give you a insight. I've already have 200 people purchase this book already, and this book is widely read by entrepreneurs, right, who are thinking to start or buying a franchise. Even a professional who wants to actually buy a franchise could actually read this book and understand and go and ask the franchisor questions that nobody would have asked him, because this book will give you the nuances of asking question to the franchisor, because you would have been educated so much about franchising.
Wow. I think that's a lot of wisdom bombs here. And let me tap into like a fun segment, like where we would love to kind of like tap into like your personal advices or personal things that you got from your mentors. Say, what is the best advice you have received in your career so far? Like from your mentors or your from your family or your from your dad, like just one
My dad always said that never tell lies, be on time, do good to others. These are the three things that he said. And I still follow this.
That's an amazing advice. I will go by that. And if you weren't in franchising, what career path you might have proceeded with?
I would have been a counselor material. I really love counseling. So probably, that's what I mean. I always say that there's something called DMIT, right? There's a particular analysis that could be done using your fingerprints. And I did this way back about 15 years ago in Ahmedabad. A friend of mine actually helped me to do this on a free of cost when I visited. That really helped me to see my reports. And I saw the report, either I'll be a salesperson or a counselor. Maybe, probably, if I have not been in sales, probably I would have actually become a full time, professor in a college teaching psychology, or being a therapist doing, uh, you know, training programs.
Sir, this has been an amazing conversation so far. I think for the listeners here, who like there might be an 18-year-old listening to our podcast here and want to take the next step, and probably there could be a young kid listening. So, what is your suggestion with any age group or a kid coming out of college or getting into college? Like, how do they have to shape their career path? Like, what are the resources that they need to look at?
See, for example, there are so many colleges which has, entrepreneurship cells today. There are a lot of entrepreneurship cells that are available today, and incubation centers which are available in the colleges. Now, what you could do is, my suggestion is, initially when students come to a college, they're not connected. So there are a lot of, connect opportunities for them to connect amongst the members of the class, and probably divide them into, their interests, and then help them to find a mentor who would probably mentor them in a particular segment that they are interested in, and then come out with, in 3 years, if they are there in 3 years or 4 years, they could, somebody comes with an idea, then there you'll also have marketing guys inside the whole class. Then will be some sales guys sitting there. There's some tech guys inside the whole thing, and then that college could probably come out with a, beautiful, idea which could solve the problems of, this country or the world, probably, right? And out of the box thinking, and then there's money available in the government as seed funding, or there are a lot of investors who are looking for good ideas, and there's a lot of activities that are taking place in colleges where you submit a lot of what do you call
Like
ideas,
hackathons,
hackathons, and even
competitions,
entrepreneurship
pretty much.
competitions, and right, and you can present them there, and probably, look for seed funding to, propel your ideas. And this is one side that I would. So there are some people who may not want to start up anything, but then would like to go back to work, right? But what I suggest is, some kind of a internship is very important. I read in an article in LinkedIn. There's a girl who actually interned 17 locations in 17 companies before she found a job, for a good job, right? So that attitude, if every, I'm not saying 17, but at least 4 or 5, if you have done some good internship in good companies, right, would actually fetch a good job. Not only a job, but then your idea, your experiences that you gain, which is not there when we studied, right? But then today companies are taking internship with paid internships and unpaid internships, a lot of things that are happening. But then you find the right companies, the top 10 companies. The way I like to, if I'm a student right now, I will go find the top 10 companies and I will apply to 10 companies to be observed by them for my internships. So internships are very important, and incubation and being in the college, not wasting the time. I'm sure most of them are not wasting the time, but of course, there are people who while away time in college. Some of them are serious, and I think joining the right group mix is very important, and doing something creative will bring the best out of each of the student. LinkedIn is a great platform. If you're a student who are watching me, or a professional who have not been in LinkedIn, please sign up immediately on LinkedIn, and you can listen to so many podcasts, so many nice stories that people write about. In fact, I'm writing my own story called Chaco Stories. I've come to 43rd episode of my life. I have been in sales and what I'm doing. So, like me, there are butt smiles. That's another important stories that Mr. Butt from Tata's is writing. I've been a great fan of his, and I keep reading all his posts, which is very amazing posts. He's an amazing marketer for Tata's, and he's a custodian of the Tata brand. And I really resonate with what he writes, because I see most of the things that what we have done earlier in life resonates with each other. And I've been a regular reader of his posts that happens. And there are a lot of people who also write some technical stuff which you can actually learn, right? So LinkedIn is a great platform. Sign up. You can sign up with me on LinkedIn. You can send in your request, and I will be able to accept them, and we can grow as a community. Sai, Harsha, Dakshan are all these people who are friends of mine whom we met, and today we are here doing a podcast. I mean, that's what connections are all about, right? That's what connection is all about. And I'm telling you, nothing is wasted in life if you have the right connections. I want to tell you something. CUREE. Connect, understand, respond, engage, help, and evaluate. This is the method that I follow. If you want to know more about it, contact me on this particular thing. I will tell you more about this.
Very interesting. I think that's a key wisdom share there. I think I'll remember that.
Cure. CUREE. Cure. That's exactly what I use when I meet people.
Interesting. I think you earlier spoke about spin as well. I think we can definitely cover a whole podcast around it. I think we'll save that for a later podcast. I think this is almost like we covered a lot of areas in franchising. I think it was like more than 1.5 hours we spoke here, but a lot of wisdom I gained. I think we should definitely kind of like curate more of this type. Are you willing to do more? I think you are planning to do a masterclass as well. Yes. So and we'll end it there. Probably like we'll have the listeners kind of tap into our podcast, like the next series of podcasts. But like for the listeners listening here, what's upcoming right now, especially on your end, in a 1 minute quick round of list. And we can close it there.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sai, for inviting me on this podcast. I want to tell you that I'm getting ready for something big, where I'm going to actually bring in an Indian brand, about 110 years old, which I'm working on to bring it into the masses as a franchise concept in the wellness sector. Watch out. I'm also bringing out Blossom, a lingerie wear brand from Kerala, which is a 40-year-old brand, which is now being franchised. I'm part of the brand. I'm so proud to say that because this is a brand which I used to look at their advertising in huge advertising boards in Kerala, which I've seen. And I always wanted to work with this brand. I'm so happy that I'm part of this brand's franchising efforts, and we are now looking at about 100 stores in the next 1 year in the south of India. These are some of the new things that I'm coming out with. And apart from this, there are so many master classes that I've done. About 160 people in Tamil Nadu have been trained by me through Magic Tamil. Along with them, I work to help them to teach franchising to so many entrepreneurs. And as I told you, there are a lot of other set of courses that I'm creating for the market, and we're going to hit the market and help entrepreneurs, salespeople, and people who are interested in franchising to scale up. And growth, and growth is what I talk. Franchising, franchising, family wellness, and family wellness.
That's inspiring. I think I'll look forward for the journey, and I'm looking forward for. I've noted down the dates here. I think April something big is coming. So I think our listeners have to just stay tuned on the updates part. Do follow Dr. Chackochen here on LinkedIn and other platforms. And I think definitely tap into his book. And it was my honor inviting you as a guest and doing this podcast, sir. And thank you so much for the amazing wisdom that you shared through your success stories and the journey. I think going back, I'll look forward to learning from this podcast. I think looking forward to do more. And I think
I can share a lot of things that I've done in franchising, difficult situations, good situations that we had. And leadership development is one of the major things that I've done in my life. I have some fantastic people who worked with me. So these are stories that I can share in the next podcast. Tune in, and both of us will be back again.